Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the entire United States of America. Good morning to the world receiving our signals from our studios via the magic of El Internet, that thing previously known as ARPANET, created by who again? We, the people of the United States. Folks, remember that. We, the people of the United States. This is our country. We should learn that, relearn that, and not give anyone the belief that somehow they know what's better for us, the majority, the masses, because of what they intend to do. Anyway, without further ado, let's move it to the studio. Good morning, El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jack Ben Biba.
And good morning, Egberto. It is Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025 on the radio. Just a minute after 6 o'clock this morning, and all is well. The tin cans and string are holding up. We had some problems with our phones yesterday during the call-in show, so nobody got to call in. Johnny did not get to call in yesterday during conversations, and we missed him. So, Johnny, if you're... Our phones are fixed. Let's see. I don't really have anything. I was arguing with MAGAs about Musk on Facebook.
Musk is mad.
I said, no empathy for the man who shows no empathy. And oh boy, you would have thought that I was out there beating their dog. Oh, he's done so much for America. He's done so much for us. He's finding all this waste and fraud. No, he isn't. He's not finding any waste and fraud. Because believe me, if he was, he would be all over it. We would never cease hearing about it. It's like, oh, I found this fraud and that. You didn't find diddly. So go away.
Go away, Musk.
Anyway, Jack, you left your paper over there. Did you not have any wisdom for us today?
Well, yeah, but it's written by Egberto Willies.
No, I don't know. Wow.
Then it really is wise.
Oh, yeah.
No.
This was from his post with Steve Ratner, a paragraph that just really stood out to me, so I'm going to read it. Tariffs have long been sold to American public as a tool for protecting domestic energy industry, restoring lost manufacturing jobs, and punishing so-called cheaters in global trade. But beneath the populist rhetoric, a surface level appeal lies an inconvenient truth. Tariffs, particularly wielded by demagogues like Donald Trump, are blunt instruments that inflict disproportionate pain on the working class while shielding the powerful. They serve as a form of economic theater, rich in political posturing, but poor in delivering sustainable progress for working people. Steve Ratner's breakdown of the consequences of Trump's tariff-driven trade war underscores a painful reality. The idea that the U.S. can impose tariffs to bring back a golden era of American manufacturing is not only economically naive, it is dangerous. As Ratner notes, the economic damage is tangible and quantifiable. $6 trillion in lost stock market value since the onset of Trump's economic policies and tariff threats. The U.S. is projected to suffer the worst long-term GDP impact among major trading nations. These policies, far from bringing jobs back home, are escalating prices for everyday Americans while disrupting global supply chains in ways that primarily harm workers and the poor here and abroad. That was beautiful.
Yes, it was. I have some additional comments here about tariffs. Tariffs and protectionism looks good on paper. but it doesn't really work. And the reason why, if a protected product, if a protected company is still manufacturing things, they may not actually manufacture them so good. The quality may go down. Possibly, yeah, because they're protected by a tariff. Oh, well, we can just build whatever we want, however we want it. Unsafe products can result, dangerous products can result, and it doesn't help anybody. So people beware of these tariffs because they're actually looking good on paper, but they don't actually work.
You know, Howard, take a look at this. I mean, you just hit the other nail, right? Let's look at Tesla's electric cars and the ones manufactured by, I don't remember the Chinese company. Tesla's cars, electronics, they've gotten lazy, stodgy, and believe in their own hype. So much so that if any Chinese electric car came into the American market, Tesla won't sell another car because their technology is so far ahead of what Tesla is doing right now. The tariff that Donald Trump and Biden put to protect the American electric car industry, the idea, and let me not, I'm not speaking out of two sides of my mouth. A country can say, we screwed up. Come out at first and say we screwed up. Our industry screwed up. And the industry may petition and say, hey, we need 5 years of tariffs or something like that so that we can catch up or something like that. And if the country believes it's in its national interest to do that, meaning, well, you know what? We don't want China to be the only ones that have great technology. And yes, they're ahead of us and all of that. We need to kind of play catch up and give our industry the ability to play catch up. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about just protecting industries. And all that does, as indicated by Jack, is raise prices. And as indicated by Howard, reduce quality on products that cost more. And, you know, the tenet of capitalism is the efficient allocation of resources. But at the same time, we had a guy speaking on TV. I don't remember which one of the Trump administration guys talking about, we're going to bring back jobs to the United States. We're going to be having people screw in screws on iPhones. You know, most iPhones are made overseas. But they want to bring it back to be made here so that we can have instead American citizens turning screws in this to rebuild the iPhone. It is sick. I have a complete start of the program that I have here called Objective Questions. But before that, since I see that we have a caller, I'm going to start with the caller first, and then I'll get into that soliloquy. Come on in, Tag. Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
Good, Egberto. You know, you asked about the Chinese car, the BYDs, and that
BYD. You're right. Yes, sir. That's the company.
And they named it Build Your Dreams for a reason. The reason being is that everything that happens in this world is financed by governments. And the Chinese government is going to continue to finance these advancements, whether it's in the industrial or if it's in health or whatever it is. The Chinese government's going to continue to pour money into industry, where now all of a sudden we've reached a plateau in this country where, the government's not going to finance anything in this country anymore. And it just takes something so simple as the expansion westward of our country way back when. That was all done by the government, putting money out there to support industry and to go west and to expand our country. And now we aren't going to have any of that. Now it's like business only. If the business doesn't want to put the money out there, guess what? We won't have nothing because the government's not going to support it. So that was kind of my rant for this morning.
Well, let me expand on your rant because you nailed it. Tim Miller, I think it was Tim Miller yesterday, said when you elect a moron, you get the values and you get the values and ideas of a moron, and that's what we have here. And let me tell you how greatly you nailed it. And listen to this. Yes, the Chinese government invests a lot into technology, into development of all these products, right? The government does, the Chinese government does. And we see that they have come out with a product that is far superior than what Elon Musk in a for-profit company came out with. And why is that? Because there are two interests that any for-profit company has. And I have nothing against for-profit companies, but understand this. As he builds that car, he also has to satisfy shareholders, and the executives wants their bonus. That's the business model. Now, when it comes to pure research, that is where the government comes in, because the government doesn't have to worry about shareholders and executives, etc. So in effect, we had not a happy balance. It was always skewed, but we had somewhat of a balance. We lied to the Americans and let Americans believe that capitalism built all these great things. We lied to Americans and told them that. Oh, the great innovative spirits of Edison and all these guys. Remember, there are two levels of technology here. There are the technologies that you can tinker in a garage, meaning a tungsten filament for a bulb, even though it wasn't Edison who did the tungsten filament, or the Graham Bell technology, etc., for the phone, right? But the real discoveries, the real things that occur in this country occurs with grants given by we the people, the taxpayer. They're the ones who fund universities, where most of the genesis of most of these technologies occur. The genesis of research, the genesis of the formulas for different chemical reactions, different nuclear reactions, that didn't occur originally in the private sector. When the private sector, because again, the private sector is risk averse. Hear this well. The private sector is risk averse. Their goal, remember, every corporation's goal, every capitalist corporation's goal is to maximize profits for the shareholder and execute bonuses for the executives. The sole reward to the executives from the shareholders is the ability to get bonuses. That's not me saying this. That's a god of capitalism saying this. The second god of capitalism, Milton Friedman, the guy who said companies have no responsibility to employees. Companies have no responsibility to the people. Companies have no responsibility to the environment. He said it. They have, and look it up on Wikipedia. I'm paraphrasing it, but look it up on Wikipedia. The god of the Chicago Boys, the god of capitalism. Go to Wikipedia, and you can find his document. The reason I took you to Wikipedia, you can go to the New York Times. I think the article was written in the New York Times, but you can go and find Milton Friedman, the economist, what he had to say as the god of capitalism. All right, so China does what we have always done as well, and that is we have been the genesis of research. We have been the genesis of creation. Our great universities, funded by the NIH and ARPA and all these other governmental agencies. We created the technology, and the private sector, when they figured they could make a buck on it, they went ahead and commercialized it. And look, I think for commercializing things, you develop stuff and you throw it out there. That's what NASA's job was supposed to be. NASA most technologies that you see out there for calculators and all of that, it was developed by NASA. And who is NASA? Government agency. Let's get real, people. Let's get real. Now, so I take what you say, Tag. Very important, the statement that you made, sir. Anything else real quickly? Tag, I think, is gone. All right, let's go to Johnny. Johnny, you're on. Okay, maybe we are still having a bit of fun, phone problems, or maybe I talk too darn much. But anyway, let's see if Johnny is going to come on. But while I wait for that, I want to welcome Joe from Los Angeles, California. We have Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. We have Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. We have the Maholike. I don't know where you're from. We also have Jacqueline Campisi from Katy, Texas. Thank you guys for being here in the chat. On the we have a whole bunch in Substack, but nobody with any messages on Substack. I see though, Uju M. Thank you so kindly for being here, Uju M. Becoming a great supporter yesterday. Appreciate you, my dear brother, on Substack. Let's go ahead and see if Johnny can make it back in. See if these things are working again. Johnny, you're on.
Yeah, I hear myself. I don't hear myself. This is callback hell. I'm gonna hang up and try again on this Panasonic headset.
All right, no problem, Johnny. We'll take your call when you call back. All right, I want to also welcome Billy Allison Irwin from here in Summerwood, Texas. Thank you for being here. She says, hiya. Let's see. I got your town right, I hope, Billy. Anyway, until Johnny comes back, what I wanted to start with is what I called, let's have some objective questions here. One of our callers, supporters, listeners, daily listeners, I'm probably not going to use a name right this very minute. He takes exception to me not quite accepting that, let's say, Donald Trump is a Russian agent aimed at destroying America from within. I'll be honest with you, everything that I see Donald Trump doing follows that pattern. But I have no evidence that, yes, he's officially a Russian agent. So as a responsible activist, progressive journalist who wants to ensure credibility is maintained, I won't quite say that, even though we constantly say action speaks louder than words. But when you have a Doge person that comes in, and does what he does to the federal government agencies and workers, one must ask that question. Since the phones have lit up again, I'm going to answer those, and then I'm going to come back to these objective questions, which I must cover today. Come on in, Jimmy.
Subject called solitary confinement in Texas prisons. We have Representative Terry Meza there, who is sponsoring a bill, House Bill 1409, which will restrict solitary confinement to 3 days or 10 days if there's a violence performed. But solitary confinement is really a form of torture. Former Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy said it drives men mad. And he also said that years on end of near total isolation exact a terrible price, noting that common side effects of solitary confinement include anxiety, panic, withdrawal, hallucinations, self-mutilation, and suicidal thoughts and behaviors. The same year, Stephen Breyer noted that the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture has called for a global ban on solitary confinement longer than 15 days. And Justice Sonia Sotomayor has said it comes perilously close to a penal tomb. I was inspired about this issue from an article in the New York Times about Dennis Hope, who spent 27 years in solitary confinement. He felt that he was going crazy and was having suicidal thoughts. I went and spoke to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice at their board meeting in Galveston, and then later on I phoned and wrote to Dennis Hope. So I'm urging you to talk more about this subject and to call up Representative Terry Meza and interview her and put that on the air, talking about House Bill 1409. And I urge your audience to also call their representatives and ask them to support House Bill 1409.
Thank you very much. I am 1409. I was working on a couple of bills that I was watching go through the Senate yesterday, specifically, I think it was 710 and 2046. I don't remember which ones they were actually. And watching what our Senator Molly Cook was doing, both with UBI and some criminality of some silly stuff. But I just added that to my little repertoire here, sir. I mean, agenda here. So I'll look into that. All right, Jimmy? You did send me an email on that.
Okay, I'll do that. And then the phone number for Terry Meza's office is 512-463-0641. You could call her and get an interview with her. I think that would be terrific to play that on air later on.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. We'll talk, all right?
Good deal. Good. It was good seeing you Saturday at the HPJC gathering.
Yeah, we had that networking with all these other organizations. It turned out very, very well. Our new president was there. Our couple of our old presidents were there. We are really getting the job done out there. That's great. Thank you very much, my brother. You have a good one. Take care. Yeah, Sophia Moreau is the new president of Houston Peace and Justice Center. Bill Crozier was the past president, and we're doing so, and as well as Jeff Reese. They were all present at that occasion. Let's see. I want to welcome Scared Caution, KVG, Oivia to the chat as well. Thank you for being here. Let's go to Johnny real quick, and then Betty. And then I got to get into my soliloquy. But LBW says on Substack says, good morning. Lauren from Kingwood, listening on my way to work. Lauren, I hope you have a safe drive to work. Positive affirmations. You go out there and kick it. Let's listen to Johnny.
Jimmy Dunn. I appreciate Jimmy Dunn. I love no-nonsense people like him. We so desperately need more Jimmy Dunns and Egbertos. All you guys, can you replicate yourselves? I wish you could. Besides the winning lottery ticket, I'd like two things to happen. I'd like to see when my cell phone or my computer misbehaves, and my first instinct is to bash it with a hammer. But what I'd like to do is go to the corner repair shop like we had in our neighborhood growing up. You know, when you bring your TV or your radio, your toaster, you can call someone for your refrigerator or your wash machine.
Yes.
Instead of throwing it into the landfill and making more pollution and wasting products. But the other thing I'd like to see, now that people are getting more to the streets, finally, I hope it's sustained, I'd like to see them bring back some old, tiny type of political theater, like Medea Benjamin and Coach
Medea is a friend of mine, but boy, I tell you.
Remember one of the Bush White Houses, they had yellow police crime scene tape around the White House. They need to do that around the current outhouse.
Hey, it's called, Johnny, that's called performative performative activism. I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Right. They need to put that. America needs to see it, and the world needs to see that we are pissed off, and just like they are. Please don't bomb us. Please don't terrorize us. Help us. Maybe we can get the French to help us in the new revolution, right?
Yes.
That's another thing. I can't stand with these smug people talking on behalf of Donald Trump, like that cheerleader, high school mean girl, the one he's got serving as the White House press corps person. What's her name? She spells her name with a K, Kristen or whatever.
I know. I can't believe she's a press secretary. I mean, she's very good at her job, but she's good at lying better than anything else.
Lying. She's so
Yeah.
smug and with such certitude. She talks about how the French need to shut up and all.
Yeah.
Lady, the French were our first. They were the original allies to the
Johnny, look, I want to move on. I love you, man, but I need to move on because there is something special I want to cover today. So I want to take Betty's call after yours, but I really want to talk about this today. So let's finish this up tomorrow, okay?
Jimmy Dunn, we love you. Please stay safe.
Yes, Jimmy Dunn, we love you.
Why not go to hell?
All right, man, you have a good one. Okay, Betty, come on in and give me a quick one, sis.
It's Wednesday. Let's go with Trump and then China. Trump is killing our workforce. That's what happened to Japan, made in Japan. They lost their workforce. That's what he's doing. Trump is on cloud nine, uses us down-to-earth people, and we have to take it, he says. We're losing our no reputation we have, no respect we have, no love. But we need to get up and push our way to a better see all, be safe all, and have our watchdogs to look out for 24/7. And on China, we better leave them alone. They will come over the hill and just keep coming over the hill. They're not dumb, they're stupid. They done the same thing of just coming over the hill in the Korean War. So what do? There's too many of them and they're very, very smart. Leave them alone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Betty. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I want to give a big salute here on Substack to Lisa's last word. She says, I used to walk the trails in Kingwood. I had family that lived there at one time. I hear you, sis. And there's Cheryl Elkins on Substack as well. She says, good morning from cold, sunny Massachusetts. Hey, girl, I tell you, it's cold. Now, here's what I want to talk about. I have several articles here, but the ones that I want to start with is just some objective questions that I threw into the newsletter because last night I was watching all these different programs. I'm like, oh my God, what do we do? And, I have another supporter. Bruce Pillard always writes in the commentary, all right, we keep talking about problems, but what are solutions? What are solutions? And, people want solutions. They don't just want to complain, right? And, one of my solutions is talking, educating, informing, highlighting, and learning, right? In other words, when I listen to folks talk, I make sure to always find something to learn from them. Also, I try to understand where people are at so that we can gain trust and convince them to start, in effect, voting their own interest. That's one of the reasons I never give up on MAGA. I never give up on Tea Party. I never give up on any particular faction because we have to be we all have to be in this together as one society, as one America. You just heard Betty talk about, China, there's a lot of them and they're smart and all of that. That's true. There are a lot of Americans and we are smart. But sometimes we allow some of our past sins to get involved in making bad choices because of prejudices, etc. We have to get over all of that. We have Trump playing games with our economy. He raised the tariffs by another 50% on China, taking it to, I think, 104%. Well, guess what China did this morning? They raised our tariff to 84% now. Now, you go ahead and think about all those things that you're going to be buying in Walmart that cost $2. Now they're $4 or just under $4. Think about the things that cost $100. Now they're $175, $180. Okay. Get ready, folks. This is what we're looking at. And China does not have, let me forewarn you. And why all of you, including your MAGA folks, better get to your Congress people quickly. Donald Trump doesn't care. Donald Trump has the coin. Donald Trump has all these different structures that allows him to make money on nothing. The coin, remember the coin. The coin. Also remember is Truth Social. All of those are ways to clean money that he created. But these tariffs are going to hurt all of you. Before the economy comes collapsing, we better get to the Congress people to tell them, hey, there are still two sections of the government not controlled by Trump. The first thing that you got to do, you got to make sure and save your country. Anyway, so I had some objective questions. And the first one was, is Trump trying to destroy America? I think based on Trump's fragility, you notice he just played a golf tournament at his Mar-a-Lago. And all he could try to tell the reporters in the gaggle on the plane is, I won. Did you notice that I won? Like a child. This is the president of the United States. And he's concerned about winning a golf game. All the participants in that golf game made sure that he won. And he takes things like that to heart. A child. As Tim Miller would say, you elect a moron, you get the results of a moron. Now, does he want to destroy America? Donald Trump has a grudge against America. Donald Trump, with all the billions that his father left him, he was so inept that had he just put all the monies and all, let the real estate that he's gotten grown, all the monies that he had in convertibles, have he just left it in the Standards and Poor's, in the S&P 500, he would truly be a billionaire several times over. But he had to have Trump stakes, Trump Airlines, Trump all these things, all of which bankrupted, all of which failed. Always a horrendous businessman. And he, as people like him would do, blamed everybody else, blamed America, never paid his bills. So American banks would not lend him money. I repeat, American banks would not lend Trump money for his endeavors. So he went to Deutsche Bank and he went to other sources, Russian oligarchs, to fund himself. So he has a grudge against America, as if America did him wrong. So he gets a bunch of followers, enough of them, to get him elected. Not the majority of the country, by no means, but he gets them to elect him. Not once, but twice. And then the things that he is doing, why continue? He ensures that he applies pain on the people that harmed him, in his opinion. And if you notice, Wall Street crashing now doesn't make a difference to him. That $6 trillion disappeared in the whole capital markets doesn't matter to him, because as he sees it, those capitalists who laughed at him, who prevented him from getting loans, all of them, he doesn't care. Musk, who worked in his office to work Doge, who he calls a genius, his second ego is telling him, even the richest man in the world, I can screw, which he is doing with tariffs, which he's doing with the collapse of Tesla, which he's doing with all these things. Yeah, speaking out of two sides of your mouth. So my friend said, is he an agent? I don't know, but he sure wants to destroy America. And in the process, take down those who love him most, his MAGA crowd. When he went with all these tariff wars that are going on right now, the people that are suffering or will suffer the most are the only people right now that are saying, give him a chance with the tariffs. We are willing to take the sacrifice. Yeah, a poll of MAGA says that a large percentage of them are buying the Trump Kool-Aid that says we'll take the pain for you Führer, we'll take the pain of these tariffs for you. And of course, he doesn't, but we'll do it for you. What else is he doing? He's also sacking el saqueo del gobierno. El saqueo del gobierno, the sacking of our United States government. What is the next thing that they're attempting to do? After they got all these agencies, and by the way, I've been saying this from the time he started with Doge and got into agencies and talking about selling buildings, that the reality was to reward the friends that stuck by him, the rich friends, not you, MAGA, the rich friends that stood by him. Who are these? What is he doing? He's now talking about selling all those government buildings on the mall, right? Great real estate. Sell all those buildings, government-owned buildings on the mall, and lease it back to the government. Supposedly, because now it's private ownership, all that good stuff. We'll take care of the cleaning. No. It's the sacking of the government. They want to buy all these government properties, properties owned by you, we the people. They want to take all of that and buy it, have the private billionaires buy it. And when they buy those buildings, they lease it back to the government, but then that becomes currency for them because they sell it then at a higher profit because of the great location on your mall in Washington, D.C. So it's another grift for their folks. Sell the government buildings, then lease it back to the government, and whenever you can't get the lease that you want from the government, you lease it elsewhere, you sell it elsewhere. It is time for the Congress to pass a bill that simply stops selling any property owned by we, the people, the government, you. You get rid of all the Social Security workers. You bring in low-paid private contractors, private workers that are paid lowly and that don't have the great benefits the government affords its employees. And what does that do? People say, but it's more efficient. No, it's not. It destroys economies. That $80,000 job in Timbuktu, Texas, is now a $30,000 job in Timbuktu, Texas. And all that money that used to go to fund the restaurants and the salons and the nail shops and the restaurants and the theaters, all of that in these towns, there are now people not able to afford that. So what happens then? Those economies falter. And who reaps the benefit? The wealthy person who is now providing the labor at a reduced cost because they get the spoils now. Further concentration of wealth in the hands of many. So that is what happens, right? So is he destroying the America? Yes. Does he want America destroyed? Yes. Does he want a different kind of America? Yes. That of lords and peasants. That of lords and look, this is just the destruction of our an America where the masses and everybody have equal access to success. That's what it's all about. Only the select few, the lords, the kings, the queens, those are the ones that are meant to profit, survive, as all of you become indentured servants. All of you. And MAGA, it starts with you. You are his biggest slaves right now because you are allowing him to do what he's doing under false premises. But one last topic and then we go to solutions. The last part is the following. All of this is going to cause the destruction of America's money. The dollar as the place where people, the safe harbor. when we had stable presidents, when we had stable policies that other countries could depend on, not that we're going to have a 10% tariff today, 100% tariff tomorrow, and all these other things. When what people want is stability. America, forget about all our sins. We have always been known as a stable country. When everybody else is in turmoil, we are stable. And with that, the people that are around us stable, Canada, Mexico, we were surrounded by stability. Surrounded by stability. Stable no more. And what that means with the lack of stability, with people not knowing if this is going to be an overthrown government and all of this, your money doesn't, remember, our money is only backed by the faith that people have in us Americans and our government. When that goes, your dollar is no longer a sovereign currency. And you know why countries like Africa have to worry about their debt? And that they have to have super large austerities. The World Bank throw them into austerity in Africa and Indonesia and all these other countries that borrow money from the World Bank. You know why they have that problem? Because they don't have a sovereign currency, because they're dependent on the dollar. Everything that they have is index of the dollar. So if they are devalued, their money has less value. If they that way. But America has been blessed because we define the economic systems. We define the money. We create the dollar and we decide what a dollar is worth. We, the American people, do that. But with why do you think Donald Trump is fearful of things like BRICS and other centers of financial power? Because any day we lose that, the deficit spendings that we do are no longer viable because now our currency is floating. Again, folks, this is serious stuff not taught in high school, not taught in college, and most business schools don't teach real economics. They teach business. They teach capitalism. They teach things in a form, something that is completely unsustainable. So solutions, and I'm coming, Lester, Patrick, and Tag in a minute. But solutions, there was an article that was written in Common Dreams. Well, it was posted in Common Dreams, and it was written by Alan Minsky. I think Alan Minsky is with the Progressive Forum. But it's a very long article, but the things that needs to be done, in effect, are the following. We first have to educate, inform, respect others, but at the same time, we're respecting others, educate them to how things really work, what's really occurring. Secondly, we need to decide in every single elective office, whether it is local, whether it is district-wise, statewide, federal, we have to all form groups and concentrate on a particular progressive candidate that we are going to uplift and take to the finish line. There are only two parties in this country that can win. I know a lot of folks are going to throw the hatchet at me for saying that, but the structures in every state gives the ability for a third party to win is not viable at this point in time. Maybe at a future time it will be. At this point in time, it's not viable. But the Republican Party changed. At once, it was taken over by the Tea Party and was successful. It was just the shell of the Republican Party being run by the Tea Party. It is now the shell of the Republican Party being run by MAGA adjacents. That is what has to happen within the opposing party, the Democratic Party. It has to be the shell of the Democratic Party populated by the progressive people that understand these concepts and that really are going to move the country forward. Neoliberals need not apply. So we have to encourage progressive caucus in every single state, in every single region, every single state, every single region. And we have to engage. I've started to see the engagement. Now that engagement has to move into the engagement activism is there. It has to move into populism. It has to move into electoral politics. We got to encourage the members with the time and fortitude to run a party officer in your particular precinct, in your particular district, in your particular county. We have to uplift those folks that are willing to move forward. And secondly, this is not in their article, but this is from me. In every single precinct chair meeting, one has to extricate the traitors. And traitors are those who do not have the interest of the American people. Who are these traitors? These are the traitors that are taking funding for organizations that harm, murder, kill, take away your economic sanity, your economic fortitude, etc. We've got to do that. And then again, most importantly, if somebody differs from you but has the same values moving forward, don't allow those little differences to keep you apart. We're going to continue speaking about these things educationally as we go on, but I need to go ahead and give mention to It's Never Happening on Substack who says, why are the Republicans going along with this destruction? Because they believe that Donald Trump is more powerful than he is, even as he's a paper tiger. And LVW says GOP senators are starting to speak out against this economic disaster. They are in disarray. There is infighting between Musk and Navarro. It's all hot mess. All right, folks, I'm going to take calls. Please be quick because of the amount of time that we have left. Let's go to Lester. Come on in, Lester. Lester, line 1. When we get our phones working, we've been having a little problem. Lester,
all right, there we go. There we go. I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm on. Hey, man, I'm going to be brief. Years ago, I dated a school teacher. She asked me to help her grade some papers. I said, sure. I said, give me the red pen and a blue pen. She said, no, we don't do it that way no more. We use computers. I told her, this is back in 1999. I said, I know nothing about no computer. She showed me. 5 minutes later, my response was, is that all it is to it? So what I'm saying right now with Donald Trump, a lot of things that he's doing, we really don't understand. We really don't get it. But let's give a man a chance. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I don't think he should be president, but he's president. So what are we going to do about it? America keep talking about they're a Christian nation. Do we ever pray for the man? That's
Lester,
all I got.
Don't leave, Lester. Real quick, I want to ask you this.
Yes, sir. Pray for the man. Yes, sir.
Look, I'm sure that you are praying for the guy, and maybe a lot of other people are. But you cannot right now. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying with sovereign currency, with the $6 trillion crash, and all of that. This isn't something one can wait for. Prayers is not the answer for this right now. Right now, the answer is somebody has to actively stop the destruction of the country. Do you at least get that?
I agree. I agree with that. Prayer without works is dead.
There you go. Okay, you answered my question, brother. You answered my question. Pray for. So I'll tell all the people out there, pray for the president, but we have to act. Thank you, brother. You have a good one. Let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
I enjoy the program because it usually always gives me something to research. You said that they're proposing to sell off government buildings to be leased back to them.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And half of us want government to be run like a business. A business. One of the businesses that make billionaires the fastest is private equity. And private equity's typical first move is to sell off, to have a business sell off their assets and have them leased back to them. And it's very important for everybody to understand that when private equity moves in, you're 5 times more likely to fail. A business will go belly up 5 times more likely under private equity. And it sounds like we've got people that are trying to treat our government like private equity right now.
So that's exactly right.
We're about to see our government smelled and sold off. In 2008, there were a lot of local governments that were going belly up, and they had to do the same thing. They had to sell off assets, and a lot of them never, ever recovered. A lot of them don't handle their own records anymore. They don't have their own buildings to handle records. So it's something to keep in mind that we asked for our government to be run like a business, and now it is. It's going to be run into the ground and sold off. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Patrick. You nailed it. All right, let's go to Tag. See you at 3, Patrick. Tag, come on in.
Yeah, earlier I was talking about China and it got cut off. But my point is China is investing in China. And America has decided they're not going to invest in America. Our government is not investing in America. And they're not going to reallocate money to make our country grow. And without that, we're going to be sitting on the sidelines where while all these other countries are taking advantage of the technology and all the good things that are happening through investment, and we're going to sit on the sidelines and just watch it happen. So that's what I wanted to say. Thanks, Egberto.
Thank you very much, Tag, and you nailed it again. All right, let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you, Lester, for bringing some common sense to the show this morning. And thank you to President Trump for finally calling out China. It's time for them to stop getting away with what they've been getting away with. Now, I had a question for you, Egberto. Do you know, do you pay taxes?
Yes, I do. A lot.
Okay. Like,
a lot. And I paid more than that, but forget it. I paid a whole lot of taxes. Yes.
Yeah, but now, do you pay taxes now every year? Like
I just answered you. I said yes.
Okay. Well, it seems like you don't, because the stuff you're saying doesn't make sense. It sounds like maybe funded by George Soros. Is that where you get some of your funding?
No, I get no funding from George Soros. My politics done right outside of KPFT is solely supported by donors. Again, I repeat, solely supported by very smart donors who want all this message going across. I get not 1 cent. That Soros is an imaginary thing that you guys like to talk about because of the billionaires that support you, my brother. Secondly, it seems like you supported Lester. I support Lester. I have no problem about it. But even author Kristen Stafford House says, I think you were very rude to the caller pushing off that. I am not sure what you're talking about, author. So please tell me which caller you thought I was rude to, because I don't think I don't think I get rude with callers. Anyway, anything else you want to say, Bard?
Yeah, you were rude to Lester, and you've been rude to me. You cut me off a lot.
Well, I cut you off because you lie a lot, sir. I don't use the airway. I don't allow lies on the airwaves, and you lie a lot. That's all.
Your whole show is a lie. Okay. Your whole show is a lie.
Brother Bard, have a great day. It's happening says you were not rude. Thank you very much. It's happening. It's happening says, oh my gosh, the Kool-Aid crowd is on the Soros. You know, it's funny. If Soros was giving guys like me money, we would be the happiest cat. I know, it would be great, because we would be doing something positive with that money. We wouldn't be harming children. We wouldn't be harming the state of the country. We would not be ill-educating people. We wouldn't be doing any of those things at all. So I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, we are at 54, and I finished my soliloquy kind of quickly because I wanted to get the calls. Now I have an extra minute, so I'm going to throw that to Howard and Jack.
Okay, well, nothing here from me, but I do understand that fighting with MAGAs is just, you can't fight with them. They just don't understand what's going on. They want to listen and they go, oh, well, Trump said this, so it must be right. The king of lies? Seriously? what was it, 30,000 lies in his first administration? And God knows on the campaign trail.
20 a day.
Yeah.
20, no, was it 20 a day?
Yeah.
Okay, well, average 20 a day for lies on the campaign trail. And who knows how many in this particular administration, not even in the office 90 days, and already has turned the government upside down.
Yeah.
So
why are you being so nice, Howard? He's turned the damn country upside down.
Well, you know, I'm a nice guy.
Okay, you're a nice guy. But anyhow, folks, look, thank you, Howard. Look, first of all, I don't want anybody. Let's see, it's never happening. Says exactly they're antagonists to the Kool-Aid crowd. It's happening. Also, say thank you, Egberto. Look, folks, let me tell you something. I try to give respect to everybody, including MAGA, because I want MAGA to be on our bandwagon as well. I really, really do. I don't hold animosities. I don't hold any of that. My goal is that we have to get this country going right for everybody, including MAGA. Unfortunately, MAGA is currently a cancer to our country. You can just look at the numbers and it tells you that. As an engineer, that's all I ever look at, numbers. So, no, I'm not trying to be rude. Anyway, we got to get out of here. So here's the deal, folks. The rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. That is kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all. Thank you for being here. Please remember to share the program. Tell people about KPFT. Let them know there's a program as PBS and all these guys are getting held back. Let them know that they have a place to land. They have a place where they can participate. They have a place where they can also educate and be educated. That's what we stand for over here. Got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view.